Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. We love to take these deep dives into fascinating topics, and today is no exception. We're going to be talking about the abundance mindset.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and specifically, we're going to be looking at an excerpt from Cultivating an Abundance Mindset for Financial Well-Being, and kind of seeing if we can apply some of this stuff to our own lives.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So have you ever felt like, you're working so hard, you're doing all the right things, but you just never seem to get ahead financially, like you're always kind of chasing your tail?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think that's something a lot of people can relate to, that feeling of being stuck on a hamster wheel.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it's not just about, working harder or finding a better job or whatever. Maybe it's actually about our mindset.
That's an interesting thought. Maybe our mindset is the missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, so before we dive into all that good stuff, let's define our terms. What exactly do we mean when we talk about scarcity and abundance mindsets?
So in a nutshell, a scarcity mindset is that belief that there's only so much to go around, whether it's money, opportunities, love, whatever it might be.
Okay, so it's like that feeling of, always competing with others for a slice of the pie.
Exactly. And it can lead to a lot of fear, anxiety, that feeling of never having enough.
And I imagine that can really impact our financial decisions.
Absolutely. If you're constantly worried about not having enough, you might be hesitant to invest, take risks, or even spend money on things you enjoy.
It's like that feeling of always looking over your shoulder, convinced there's a parking ticket waiting for you, even when you're parked legally.
Yeah, a perfect example right there. And on the flip side, we have the abundance mindset, which is all about believing that there's enough for everyone.
So it's less about, wishing I'd win the lottery and more about fundamentally changing how I view money and opportunity.
Exactly. It's about trusting that the universe or, whatever higher power you believe in is abundant and that there's always more to go around.
Okay, I'm starting to see the difference, but how do we know if we're stuck in this scarcity mode? What are the red flags we should be looking out for?
Well, the source material highlights some pretty common signs like, constantly worrying about money, feeling jealous when others succeed, or even avoiding investments because the fear of loss is so strong.
Ooh, yeah, those are definitely relatable. Anyone else out there feeling seen right now? I'll admit I've definitely fallen into those traps myself. Like that time
We've all been there, right?
Yeah.
It's all part of the learning process.
So true. So let's dig a little deeper into one of those signs that really stood out to me, the whole fear of losing money. Like, even when I know an investment has potential, that fear just paralyzes me.
That actually ties into a psychological principle called loss aversion bias.
Loss aversion bias.
Right.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Basically, it means that we as humans tend to feel the pain of a loss much more intensely than the pleasure of an equal gain.
So even if the potential reward is greater, the fear of losing what we have just looms so much larger.
Exactly. And it's not always a rational thing. It's wired into our brains.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So how do we overcome this loss aversion bias and start making more rational financial decisions?
Well, awareness is a good first step, right? Once we understand that this bias exists, we can start to challenge it.
So instead of letting that fear dictate our choices,
Yeah.
we can pause and really weigh the potential risks and rewards.
Exactly. And remember, it's all about finding a balance, We don't want to be reckless with our money, but we also don't want to let fear hold us back from opportunities for growth.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've identified the problem. We've got a little bit of insight into the psychology behind it. Now let's get to the good stuff. How do we actually start cultivating this abundance mindset?
Well, the source material offers some really practical strategies, and one that really resonated with me was the power of reframing our thoughts.
Reframing our thoughts. Okay, give me an example.
Like, how we often say, I can't afford it, almost automatically.
Oh yeah, that's my go-to phrase for pretty much everything these days.
Yeah. Well, instead of instantly going to that place of limitation, try asking yourself, how can I afford this?
I love that. It's like instead of shutting down the possibility, we're opening up our minds to creative solutions.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from lack to possibility.
So even if I can't afford something right this second, maybe there's a way I could make it happen down the road.
Exactly. And even if it's something completely out of reach right now, like let's say a private island.
Okay, a girl can dream, right?
Of course. But by asking, how can I afford this? You're still engaging with the possibility.
So maybe it sparks an idea for a new business venture, or maybe it motivates me to save more aggressively.
Exactly. You're training your brain to think differently, to see opportunities instead of limitations.
I'm starting to see how this seemingly small shift in language can have a huge impact on our mindset and our actions.
It's all about changing the script, rewriting those limiting beliefs that might be holding us back.
This is so powerful. I'm already feeling a little more abundant just thinking about all the possibilities.
That's the spirit. And remember, it's a journey, We don't have to master this overnight.
Small steps, consistent effort. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And the more we practice this way of thinking, the more natural it becomes.
Okay, I'm ready to embrace this abundance mindset.
Okay.
But I have a feeling it's not always easy. Especially when the world around us seems to be screaming scarcity.
You're right. It can be tough to stay positive when everyone else is complaining about money and focusing on lack.
It's like trying to grow a beautiful garden in the middle of a desert.
I love that analogy. So what's the antidote? How do we create a more fertile environment for abundance to flourish?
Well, the source material suggests that we need to be mindful of the company we keep.
So true. The people we surround ourselves with have a huge impact on our mindset.
It's like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Exactly. So if we're constantly surrounded by negativity and scarcity thinking, it's going to be much harder to cultivate an abundance mindset.
So I need to find my tribe of abundance all-stars, people who inspire me to think bigger, dream bigger, and believe in the possibility of unlimited abundance.
Exactly. Look for people who are positive, successful, and who embody those qualities you want to cultivate in yourself.
Okay, so I'm off to find my abundance posse. But what if my current circle is a little, well, let's just say they're not quite there yet.
That's where you might need to get a little creative, Join online communities, attend workshops, or even just start by following inspiring individuals on social media.
It's like we're creating our own virtual abundance mastermind group.
Exactly. And the beauty of online communities is that you can connect with like-minded people from all over the world.
I love that. So we're expanding our circle of influence and surrounding ourselves with the energy of abundance.
And that can make all the difference in the world, When we're surrounded by people who believe in possibility, it becomes easier to believe in it ourselves.
This is all starting to make so much sense. It's like we're building a foundation for abundance from the inside out.
Exactly. We're shifting our mindset, cultivating gratitude, and surrounding ourselves with positive influences.
But even with all that good stuff, I have a feeling those old, limiting beliefs about money can still creep in. Those money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy kind of thoughts.
Oh, for sure. Those deep-seated beliefs can be tricky.
It's like they're lurking in the shadows, just waiting to sabotage our best efforts.
Exactly. So it's important to be aware of them and to challenge them when they pop up.
So it's like we're becoming detectives of our own minds, trying to uncover those hidden biases and limiting beliefs that might be holding us back.
Exactly. And remember, sometimes those beliefs are rooted in our childhood experiences or societal conditioning.
So they might not even be true, just stories we've been telling ourselves for years.
Exactly. So it's about questioning those stories and rewriting them with a more empowering narrative.
I love that. It's like we're taking back control of our thoughts and choosing to believe in a more abundant reality.
And that's a powerful place to be.
Okay, so we're reframing our thoughts. We're surrounding ourselves with positive influences. What else can we do to cultivate this abundance mindset?
Well, the source material also emphasizes the importance of investing in ourselves.
Investing in ourselves. What do you mean by that?
Things like learning new skills, taking courses, attending workshops, anything that helps us grow and expand our potential.
So it's not just about investing our money, it's about investing in our own personal development.
Exactly. Because when we invest in ourselves, we're essentially saying, I'm worthy of growth, I'm capable of achieving great things.
And that belief in ourselves is essential for attracting abundance into our lives.
Absolutely. It's about creating a cycle of growth and expansion.
This is all starting to connect. It's like all these different pieces are fitting together to create a more holistic approach to abundance.
Exactly. It's not just about money. It's about our mindset, our beliefs, our actions, and our commitment to personal growth.
This is so inspiring. I'm feeling so motivated to take all this information and put it into practice.
That's what it's all about. Taking those inspired actions that move us closer to our goals.
Well said. Okay, deep divers. That's a wrap for part 1 of our abundance mindset. Deep dive. But don't go anywhere. We've got so much more to explore.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive into some practical strategies for turning those abundance vibes into tangible results.
You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back after a quick break. All right, deep divers. Are you ready to turn those abundance vibes into something a little more tangible? something we can actually put into practice in our lives?
I think so. Let's do it.
Okay. So I remember in the last part we talked about that really interesting concept of reframing, that whole like I can't afford it mentality.
Right, right. Yeah, instead of just automatically shutting down the possibility, we can challenge ourselves to think a little differently.
Yeah, and I remember you challenged us to try this out for a week, right? To like actually catch ourselves every time we say I can't afford it.
Exactly. For the next 7 days, I want you to pay attention to those thoughts, those words, and every time you catch yourself saying, I can't afford it, I want you to pause and ask yourself, how can I afford this?
Okay, so it's like we're turning a negative statement into a question that might actually lead to some interesting solutions.
Exactly. And you might be surprised by the answers that come up. Sometimes just by shifting our perspective, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibilities.
Okay, I'm ready to try this out, but I have to admit, there's a part of me that's a little hesitant. What if the thing I'm thinking about is just like completely out of reach right now? Like what if it's a yacht or a private jet or, something like that?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting because even when the answer seems impossible, just by asking the question, how can I afford this? You're engaging with the possibility, you're telling your brain to start looking for solutions.
So it's like we're planting a seed, even if we don't see the fruits of that seed right away.
Exactly. And maybe that seed grows into a new business idea or a creative way to generate income, or maybe it just inspires you to start saving more aggressively, whatever it is you're setting the wheels in motion.
Okay, I'm starting to get this. Like we're training our brains to think differently, to not just accept limitations, but to actively look for ways to overcome them.
Exactly. And it's not just about manifesting material possessions. It's about creating a life of abundance in all areas, our relationships, our health, our careers, everything.
Okay, that's a really good point. It's like abundance is a holistic concept. It's not just about money. It's about feeling fulfilled and having a sense of richness in every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. And that's where gratitude comes in, remembering to appreciate all the good things we already have.
Yeah, we talked about gratitude in the last part too, right? And I remember saying that sometimes it feels a little bit fluffy to me.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to see how it all connects. The more grateful we are for what we have, the less we focus on what we lack, and that can really shift our energy.
For sure. It's like gratitude is the foundation for abundance. It's what allows us to receive more good stuff into our lives.
Okay, I'm definitely on board with that. But let's be honest, it's not always easy to stay in that grateful state of mind.
Yeah.
Especially when we're surrounded by negativity or when things aren't going our way.
Right. So that's where it's so important to create a supportive environment for ourselves. Surround ourselves with people who uplift us, who inspire us, and who remind us of our own potential.
Yeah, we talked about that too in the last part, finding our tribe of abundance all-stars, those people who embody the kind of energy we want to cultivate in our own lives.
Exactly. And, sometimes those people aren't in our immediate circle, so we might need to get a little creative, join online communities, attend workshops, or even just start by following inspiring individuals on social media.
Yeah, it's all about being proactive about creating that supportive network for ourselves.
Exactly. And, it's not just about finding those positive people. It's also about limiting our exposure to negativity, whether it's the news, social media, or even just certain conversations. We can choose to step away from those things that drain our energy and focus on those things that uplift us.
It's so true. It's like we're creating an abundance filter for our lives, letting in the good stuff and blocking out the bad.
I like that, the abundance filter. I might have to steal that one.
Feel free to use it. But I think we need to talk about something else that's really important, and that's taking action.
Yeah.
We can have all the right thoughts and beliefs, but if we're not actually doing anything to move us closer to our goals, then nothing's going to change.
You're absolutely right. Action is essential for manifesting abundance.
But I think sometimes the thought of taking action can feel overwhelming. Like where do we even begin? What are the right steps to take?
Well, one helpful approach is to break down our goals into smaller, more manageable steps. Instead of trying to climb the whole mountain at once, just focus on taking one step at a time.
And celebrate those small wins along the way, right?
Absolutely. Every step forward is a victory worth celebrating.
Okay, so we're taking action. We're celebrating our wins. What else do we need to know about this whole abundance journey?
Well, I think it's important to remember that it's a journey. It's not about arriving at some perfect destination. It's about enjoying the process of growth and expansion.
And being kind to ourselves along the way.
Oh, absolutely. There will be setbacks, there will be challenges, but it's all part of the learning process.
So we need to embrace those challenges as opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly. And remember to always come back to that abundance mindset. Remind ourselves that there's enough for everyone, that we're worthy of receiving good things, and that the universe is always supporting us.
I love that this has been such an inspiring conversation. I'm feeling so much more optimistic and empowered now.
Me too. And I think that's the beauty of this whole abundance concept. It's not just about money. It's about creating a life that feels rich and fulfilling in every way.
Well said. Okay, deep divers, that's a wrap for part 2 of our abundance mindset. Deep dive, we've covered a lot of ground today, from gratitude to action, to creating a supportive environment for ourselves.
And in the next part, we'll dive even deeper into some of the practical strategies for manifesting abundance in our lives.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a quick break. All right, deep divers, welcome back for the final part of our abundance mindset deep dive. And, we've talked a lot about mindset. We've talked about gratitude. We've even busted some of those sneaky scarcity habits. But I think it's time to really bridge that gap between thinking and doing. How do we actually take all this good stuff and turn it into tangible results in our lives?
You're so right. It's not enough to just think abundant thoughts. We have to actually take action.
Okay, so less wishing and hoping.
Yeah.
And more actually doing something.
Exactly. And the source material really emphasizes this point. It talks about the importance of taking inspired action toward wealth creation.
Okay, inspired action. I like that. But what does that actually look like, in the real world?
Well, it can take many forms, but the key is that it's aligned with your values, your passions, and that deeper sense of purpose that we've been talking about. It could mean starting a side hustle that lights you up, or making wise investments, or even taking a calculated risk to pursue a dream career.
Okay, so it's not just about blindly chasing every get-rich-quick scheme that pops up on the internet.
Exactly. It's about being really intentional about the actions we take and making sure they're in alignment with our overall vision for our lives.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do we figure out what those inspired actions are? Where do we even begin?
Well, I think it starts with asking ourselves some really honest questions. What am I truly passionate about? What skills or talents do I possess that could be monetized? Or what problems can I solve that people would be willing to pay for?
So it's like we're uncovering those hidden treasures within ourselves and then figuring out how to share those treasures with the world in a way that also generates income.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And, sometimes those answers don't come to us right away. So it might require some exploration, some experimentation, trying different things and seeing what feels right.
Yeah, it's like we're on this treasure hunt, and the journey is just as important as the destination.
Exactly. And speaking of journeys, we've talked about the importance of surrounding ourselves with an abundance mindset. But I think it's equally important to find mentors and guides who can support us along the way.
So finding those people who've already achieved the kind of success we're striving for and learning from their experiences.
Exactly. Whether it's through books or courses or even just personal connections, having those mentors can make a huge difference in our journey.
It's like they're shining a light on the path ahead and helping us avoid some of those potholes and detours.
Exactly. And speaking of support, I think it's also important to have a strong support system in place. People who believe in us, who encourage us, and who remind us of our potential even when we start to doubt ourselves.
Yeah, because let's be honest, this whole abundance journey isn't always easy. There are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be challenges along the way.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where having that support system can make all the difference. Knowing that we have people in our corner who are rooting for us can give us that extra boost of motivation and resilience we need to keep going.
And you know what else can help us stay motivated? Visualization.
Oh, visualization is such a powerful tool for manifesting our desires.
I've heard about it, but I have to admit, I'm a little skeptical. How does just thinking about something actually make it happen?
Well, think about it this way. Our brains are incredibly powerful. And when we repeatedly visualize a desired outcome, we're essentially creating neural pathways that make that outcome more likely to manifest. It's like we're programming our subconscious minds for success.
So it's not just about wishful thinking. It's about actively shaping our reality by imprinting those desired outcomes on our minds.
Exactly. And the more senses we engage in our visualizations, the more powerful those visualizations become, So really try to see it, feel it, hear it, smell it, make it as real as possible in your mind.
Okay. I'm starting to get this. It's like we're creating a mental movie of the life we want to create and then taking inspired action to bring that movie to life.
Exactly. And the more we practice visualization, the more natural it becomes.
I'm definitely going to give that a try. But what about those times when things don't go our way? You know, when we experience setbacks or challenges, how do we stay resilient and maintain that abundance mindset when things get tough?
That's such an important question. And, you know, the truth is setbacks are inevitable. They're part of life. But it's how we choose to respond to those setbacks that makes all the difference.
So it's not about avoiding challenges altogether. It's about learning to navigate them with grace and resilience.
Exactly. And one helpful practice is to reframe those setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth. You know, instead of seeing them as failures, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this challenge to become stronger and wiser?
It's like that saying, every cloud has a silver lining.
Exactly. It's about finding those nuggets of wisdom hidden within those challenging experiences.
I love that. And you know what else I think is important? Remembering to celebrate our wins, both big and small.
Oh, absolutely. Celebrating our wins is so crucial for staying motivated and for reinforcing that abundance mindset.
It's like we're giving ourselves permission to acknowledge our progress and feel good about how far we've come.
Exactly. And you know what else I think is really important? Giving back.
Giving back. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but I'd love to hear more about why it's so important.
Well, when we give freely, whether it's our time, our money, or our talents, we're not only making a positive impact on the world, we're also reinforcing our own sense of abundance.
So it's like we're putting that abundance energy back out into the world and creating a cycle of giving and receiving.
Exactly. And, you know, it doesn't have to be huge, grand gestures. Even small acts of kindness can make a difference.
So whether it's volunteering our time or donating to a cause we care about, or simply offering a helping hand to someone in need, every act of giving matters.
Absolutely. And the more we give, the more we open ourselves up to receiving.
This has been such an incredible conversation. I feel like I've learned so much about the abundance mindset and how to actually put it into practice in my life.
Me too. And you know, I think the most important takeaway is that abundance is a choice. It's a choice we make every single day through our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions.
So it's not about waiting for abundance to find us. It's about actively creating it in our lives.
Exactly. And the more we choose abundance, the more abundance we'll experience.
Well said, deep divers. Hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the abundance mindset as much as we did. Remember, abundance is not a destination. It's a journey. So keep exploring, keep growing, and keep choosing abundance in every area of your life.
And we'll be here to support you every step of the way.
Until next time, stay curious, keep diving deep, and may your life be filled with abundance.